Hello friends, because the coronavirus is more political than medical, so far I abstained from talking about it. However, after I saw this video, I couldn't keep quiet. The information I have for you can even save your life. Let's see what it's all about.
Who thought Viagra would save us from the pandemic? Dr. Mark Siegel might have predicted it.
Viagra is not just used for what you think it's used for, it also treats lung problems. It improves blood flow to the lungs. It improves oxygen in the lungs. It treats pulmonary hypertension. It treats altitude sickness. It makes something called nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is something that the COVID virus decreases and Viagra increases. And not only was there this study out of Chile, Tucker, but there was several studies around the world that if you inhaled that nitric oxide, your lungs did a lot better with COVID. Japan, China, Scandinavia all had studies like this showing a big improvement with nitric oxide, just what Viagra does.
You see, because of my congenital heart disease, in my mid-30s, I started feeling erectile dysfunction. But after I changed my lifestyle and adopted capsicum as my heart medication, I also felt the change in my sexual activity. To my clinics came customers for their heart conditions. After following my instructions, many of them also reported an improvement in their sex life. That led me to investigate how the diet I offered and the tincture of capsicum helped to improve their health and sexual function. In my research, I came across nitric oxide and its contribution to health and longevity. But before I'm going to share with you what helped me and my customers, I think it's the right time to know about nitric oxide. In my study, I found it to have a direct influence on our health and longevity. So let's start. Nitric oxide is a free radical natural gas. To many people, free radicals sounds like something to stay away from. It is said that free radicals are unstable. They can damage cells and cause illnesses. In some cases, it might be true, while others, like nitric oxide, it's the opposite. For example, nitrogen dioxide and nitrous oxide are also free radicals, and we already know about their negative effect on us. On the other hand, ozone is also a free radical and is known as the breath of God. It is good to know that nitric oxide, like ozone, is produced in nature by lightning. But perhaps the most significant action nitric oxide has on the human body is in its positive effect on the cardiovascular and respiratory systems. In 1998, 3 scientists were awarded the Nobel Prize for Physiology for their discovery. They found that nitric oxide is a signaling molecule in the cardiovascular system. Because nitric oxide involves in many physiological and pathological processes, it was proclaimed the molecule of the year in 1992. So if nitric oxide is very important to us, we need to examine its biological effect on us. Before I continue, there is a side note. I would like you to keep in mind, nitric oxide has a short life of a few seconds. When the body produces nitric oxide and it meets oxygen in the bloodstream, it converts to nitrogen dioxide. That means to maintain health, the body needs to have the building blocks to produce nitric oxide. Now, Nitric oxide has many positive effects on the human body, and I encourage you to search and read about them. However, two major effects makes nitric oxide valuable in treating chronic diseases. First, nitric oxide creates an immune response. Pay attention that parts of the immune system, monocytes, macrophages, and neutrophils generate nitric oxide. Being a free radical, nitric oxide is toxic to bacteria, parasites, and other harmful pathogens. This can shorten the duration of acute inflammation and help in recovery. Second, nitric oxide dilates blood vessels and increases blood supply and lower blood pressure, which directly affects the function of the heart. Studies show the connection between the heart and the lungs, where both organs influence each other. Besides that, you know that sexual activity elevates your heart and lungs rate, which makes your heart work harder. Viagra and other erectile dysfunction medicines dilate blood vessels in the heart and lungs, which increases blood flow everywhere in the body, including the penis and clitoris. Now, as we know, Big Pharma has a deep pocket to buy airtime on national TV. So they send a professional drug dealer to promote their products. In this case, Pfizer promotes Viagra to fight COVID. But did you know that you can buy nitric oxide supplements and even a pure gas of it? Even the dealer talks about treating lung diseases and COVID with inhalation of nitric oxide gas. Let's listen.
And not only was there this study out of Chile, Tucker, but there was several studies around the world that if you inhaled that nitric oxide, your lungs did a lot better with COVID.
Look, I didn't make this video to talk about sick and old people. I don't feel I can contribute much to their health. They are already in the hands of Big Pharma. Yet, because nitric oxide also influences the digestive system, and because its production decreases after the age of 40, I suspected that many chronic diseases and lower immunity develop due to lower amount of it in the bloodstream. And because the gas has a short life of a few seconds, we need to resupply it daily. If you think of taking nitric oxide supplements, I want you to know that the amino acid L-arginine is also necessary because it's a precursor of nitric oxide. However, studies show that supplements with L-arginine do not increase nitric oxide production. That led me to search for foods that promote the production of it in the body. Many natural foods contain the amino acids L-arginine, but you need to take into consideration that heat from cooking destroys it. That's why I didn't include foods that you need to cook or bake before eating them. Steaming is the best method to preserve amino acids, yet the best way to consume green leafy vegetables is by eating them raw. It's also important to know that to benefit from nuts and seeds, they need to be eaten only if they are fresh and raw. Heat and wrong storage turn them acid. Clearing that out, let's go right to my list of the most beneficial foods to raise nitric oxide levels. Number 1, any green leafy vegetable like kale, spinach, arugula, dandelion, and more. Number 2, bananas. Make sure you eat bananas when they have brown spots on them, which indicates ripeness. Number 3, tomatoes. Just make sure your tomatoes are red. Number 4, watermelons. Number 5, ginger. The best way to consume it is by adding a piece of ginger as part of your juice. Number 6, pomegranate. There are many studies on the biblical fruit of knowledge and its contribution to health and longevity. Number 7, oats. Always choose organic, non-GMO. Number 8, beetroot. Steam it, or better yet, juice it. Number 9, garlic. It got into the list because it strengthens the immune system, cleanses the blood vessels, and raises nitric oxide. As part of natural aging, our body is losing its ability to produce nitric oxide. If you are 40 years old or older, my advice is to add those foods to your diet. Now listen, before I tell you about the fruit that raises nitric oxide, strengthen the heart, fight infection, and help you to be healthier, I want you to know that natural healers knew about it many years before science started looking into it. You see, in 1999, when I decided to adopt capsicum as my natural heart medication, I didn't do it because of scientific evidence. I did it after I studied how to use it from master healers of the past. Even in old books, capsicum is known as a medicine for the heart. Look, the benefits of capsicum were known hundreds of years before the Nobel Prize was awarded for the discovery of nitric oxide and its biological effect on the body. That's why cayenne pepper is the number 1 fruit on my list. I want you to know that cayenne, just like garlic, has many blessings, yet they also carry an unpleasant property. The blessings of garlic have a stinky smell and it's painful to eat hot cayenne pepper, right? However, when using a tincture of cayenne, you can control the amount ingested and gradually get used to the heat. Taking only 5 drops 5 times a day can help you maintain the production of nitric oxide throughout the day. That's why a healthy lifestyle, eating foods that help increase nitric oxide levels, and taking a tincture of cayenne helped me and my customers. Now I'm giving you the option to choose between man-made synthetic products that don't work and a fruit that has given to us by God for health and longevity. Below this video, I have a link to the Drop of Fire presentation where I show how you too can improve your health. I also allow you to try Drops of Fire at a low introductory price. That's how you can support my educational programs. Click on the link below and I will see you soon. Goodbye.